G'day and welcome to my blue heaven. I'm back on the treadmill. In fact, I'm going to call this new segment Friday nights or Friday Arvo on the treadmill. I'm in week 2 of my fitness campaign and starting to feel a lot better, although I'm still sweating like a pig. But I've graduated from a walk into a little bit of jogging as well, so it won't be long, guys, before I am in terrific physical condition. So I'm here to just talk some shit. I've got about 5 little sort of topics I want to touch on this afternoon. Hope you're well. And as you could probably guess, at the top of the agenda is our mate Andrew Dillon, the new Chief Executive Officer of the AFL, and the announcement, which happened on Monday, and I was surprised that when it was reported on afl.com.au, and yeah, fancy that a proposal from the head honchos of the AFL was leaked to one of their journos to break the story. But Andrew Dillon, came across when he first came in as, I don't know, just a fucking private school boy. Probably a nice fella, but fuck, Richmond supporter, man. Well, that's not lost on me. He's a Richmond supporter. Isn't it a fucking surprise? You know, Monday it was announced that there'd be a split round, or potentially a split round in the AFL. They go to New South Wales and Sydney. Collingwood would play potentially the Giants after that cracking prelim final. Bit of a rematch there, and given now the rivalry between Brodie Grundy and the D's, Melbourne to go and face the Sydney Swans at the SCG. Now it's been announced today that they're going to take it to fucking Queensland as well. And who would have fucking guessed it? We're going to go to the Gabba, probably the hardest road trip in all of football, to start round 1 to take on the Brisbane Lions, the place where they got us in the prelim final. And the Tigers will have the easier option and go across the Metricon, and fuck me dead, that Richmond supporter Andrew Dillon has just gone fucking bang to our football club. Like, in all seriousness, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Just when we appear to be going somewhere, and we have that nice little start to the season with one of our arch rivals in the Richmond Football Club, and we've been fucking horrendous for so many years, and the Tigers have been a powerhouse, and gradually we've just started to come good, and the Tigers have just dipped somewhat. They'll have a new coach, and yeah, I think most are expecting them to not so much struggle, but I think we'd account for them in round 1, given, you know, the momentum we've got from this year, and to have that potentially taken away from us and having to go to the Gabba. Fuck, I can't remember the last time we won there, but I mean, it just seems fucking outrageous. Anyway, it is what it is. So I'll pose a question to you guys, like, fuck, we've got to put our big boy pants on if that's the case. If we want to be a big player in this competition, it's a perfect opportunity to go up north and take on the Lions, and not so much get revenge on them, because prelim finals done and dusted, but we haven't had a big win on the road for, I don't know, God knows how long. And I know we've beaten Fremantle and we've beaten the Suns, and but we've never won at the Adelaide Oval, and can't remember the last time we won at the Gabba. So it's got to fucking happen for us to be a serious football side, you know. And I'm actually It's actually on my wish list is to go to the Gabba next year and win a game. It's probably going to be round one, and we've just got to fucking win at the Adelaide Oval too, whether that's Adelaide or Port Adelaide. So I'm not going to say much more on that, other than that fucking Richmond fanboy Andrew Dillon, yeah, fuck the Northern States, fuck him. Anyway, let's go on to point number 2. On my Friday on the treadmill agenda, let's have a look at our list and the draft. Obviously coming up in late November, and there'll be a lot of talk around that in regards to what we need and what we potentially need. And I'll just do a little bit of math today, and my calculations say that we've got 41 players on our list at the moment. And other than Williams, Zach Williams that is, and he should be ready to go really by pre-season. He was running at the back end of this year. Touch wood, we've actually got a really fucking healthy list for a change. No long-term injuries. Remember last year, Marchbank, Cunningham, Philp, they were all on the fucking long-term injury list at certain stages, and this year we go in, it looks like with a really strong list, and 41 at the moment, meaning I think the max is 44 we can take in, which includes rookies. We've got a couple of Irish boys, I'll speak about them shortly, but what does that mean for us? I think 3 picks we'll take in the draft coming up in November. We've got 5 picks, 22, 28, 70, 78, 96. Obviously we can't use the 5, but will something be done with those 2 earlier picks, the 22 and 28, before the draft or on draft night? Will we try and package something up into try and get in the top 10? Who knows? But it's pretty bloody exciting. I like what Austin has said, that we're pretty much going to go in with Elijah Hollands coming in, and that's about it. We're gonna trust with what we've got, the evolution of this group. I liked last year that we went to the draft as well and got Bings, Cowan, Lemmy, just to name a few, Hudson O'Keefe, obviously Ollie Hollands, and that's fucking exciting. Seeing those guys develop in their second year, and often the second year is a little bit more difficult, particularly for guys who start off like a house on fire. But it is exciting to have that depth, who are young and are into their second year, and we're going to add that with 3 more picks in the draft, and we're going to get, even if we don't go lower than 22 or 28 and package those up, you're going to get something pretty fucking good with 22 and 28, and even a Smokey with a late pick. And you know that I'm in the Sean Manor, and maybe I'll do a profile on him over the coming weeks leading up into the draft. I really rate him. But what do you reckon, guys? What is our preference? I think key position for me, I know a lot of people are talking midfield. Whether you can get a good key position player with picks in the 20s, I'm not quite sure. Generally, the top-notch key position players who do take a little bit of time, obviously a lot more time to develop than the midfielders, they usually come in the first round. I just feel like we need to really invest in a young back or even a key forward. Whether we can get one of those in those 20s, I'm not quite sure. So for me, it is a key position player if we can get into the 10s as a top 10 draft pick, and then mid, keep adding to that mid, and then the small forward if we can get one late, whether that be late in the draft or is it in the rookie draft. Not quite sure how we'll use those 3 picks. Let's go on to a guy I mentioned Elijah Hollins. And I did do a piece on him, or a video on him about 3 weeks back. So if you're new to the channel, just go back and have a look at that one. I was absolutely rapt when it was announced on the final day of the trade that we got the older brother of Ollie to the footy club from the Gold Coast Suns. And oh look, I don't want to laugh. It's not funny, but just the timing of, I think it was last night, around about 6 o'clock or wherever it was, and I logged into Twitter and there was a club statement, and fuck, I went, Jesus, what's this all about? And I did laugh, just the timing. That young Elijah's been was arrested for in possession of illegal substance in his time at the Gold Coast Suns, and the club knew about it. Well, Carlton knew about it before, so all the information was known to the Carlton Football Club well before their decision to trade for him. I don't know, just the timing of it. It sort of got me thinking, we did get him really fucking cheap. And I'm not here to talk about the circumstances or having any knowledge of what's gone down on the Gold Coast for the young kid, and he'll be back in Melbourne shortly. But I found it a little bit funny and a little bit surprising that when we did get Elijah, that there was no video message from him. Like, we generally get a video message from the new recruits that come into the football club, just, hey, Blue Baggers, I'll do it for you. G'day, Blue Baggers, it's Elijah here. Can't wait to get down to the footy club, meet all the fellas, work hard, earn the respect. Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to join my brother at the Icon Park. That sort of bullshit. We saw Zach Fisher do it when he got traded to North Melbourne, and Paddy Dow did it. But the club didn't do one for Elijah Hollins. Yeah, surprise, surprise. But my initial reaction was, fuck. We have some hypocritical supporters out there, because about 3 or 4 hours earlier it was the news had broken that Joel Smith had been tested positive for cocaine. And I know the circumstances are different, but fuck me dead. Don't supporters of opposition clubs go to town on players from other clubs in regards to these types of indiscretions, and then bang, it happens to not so much one of our own. Well, he's one of our own now, and I'm not going to split and talk about what's worse, you're caught in possession or you're doing it. Like, for fuck's sake, guys, grow up. Anyway, I feel a little bit sorry for his younger brother Ollie. A little bit awkward that, bro, this information's coming out. I wonder if the players knew about it. They probably did. I reckon it'll be pretty much forgotten about within a month or two. Doesn't make it right. But I think this type of behaviour, and particularly post-season, is pretty rife amongst I don't know about rife, but it's fairly popular amongst the AFL cohort in the post-season shenanigans, and I actually can't wait to see him play next year. And what I've seen I really like, and a great mix of fucking toughness on the inside and class on the outside, good size, beautiful disposal, exactly what we need. So, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the 2 Irish boys who we picked up. When did we pick them up? Sort of 3 weeks out before the end of the season, it was announced that we'd signed them. We'd had our eye on them. They're only 19 years of age. I really like the sound, and this is a really fucking wanky term, guys, athletic profile. But I think, from my point of view, when you invest, long-term investment, and that's what it's going to be. It's a long-term investment. I'm somewhat surprised of two Irish boys coming over at the same time, but I think maybe that's a smart move. The transition, they'll probably move in together. I'm not quite sure if they know each other or are friends. They've had a previous relationship, played sort of representative Gaelic football together before, but yeah, I think the transition for Gaelic players coming over to play Australian rules football in the AFL system, and we've seen it. We've seen some really talented Irish players come through the footy club who haven't quite transitioned that well and gone home, and obviously we've had Zach Tui, who's still sort of made his home here in Australia now with the Cats, and Kyron Byrne and Kyron Sheen or Corey Sheen, whatever his name was. So the athletic profile is the one that excites me, and I think you bypassed, so what's happened, 19-year-olds, so they're young. Austin and Co have bypassed the talent leagues here in Australia and looked for some just absolute fucking beasts. And these two boys are absolute beasts. One at 189 centimetres and the other at 194. The one at 194 is an elite runner. Just kills it in the long distance running, and the other one is just powerful. And they've both got really good skills with the round ball, which could translate to our game. And it got me thinking that, as I mentioned, it is a long-term investment, so don't expect suddenly, what are their names? Is it Duffy and Monaghan? I think their names are Duffy and Monaghan. We'll get to know them. We'll get to know them in the VFL. And I can't wait to go down and watch them train. But it is a long-term investment, and everyone will develop at a different rate. But don't expect these kids to be knocking the door down of senior football for the next 2 or 3 years. And I suppose a really good example is Callum Brown from the GWS Giants, who I fucking really rate. He's somewhat exploded this year, but he's ready to fucking really explode next year. The boy from Ireland, I didn't realise he was 23 years of age, and he's been at the Giants since 2018, and he's only played the 29 games. So that's how long it has taken him to learn the game. But you can see what they did, the Giants. They looked at this kid, Callum Brown, and thought, this is one of the most powerful beasts who can kick a round ball. But fuck, if we can bring this guy in with just this unbelievable athletic profile, we're going to have potentially a really dangerous footballer on our hands. And he showed that in his 19 games this year. He's an absolute ripper. So that's the projection, or hopefully the projection for these two boys, Rob Monaghan and Matt Duffy, over the next couple of years at the Carlton Football Club. All right, I'm just going to finish off. I know I spoke about our list before, and I was thinking about our most important player at the club, and the bloke that we could probably least afford to lose. And I don't want to put the miles on anyone, but I think it's Jacob Wiedering. And I know that's probably not a big call, but we do have some absolute superstars in our team: Charlie Curnow, Patrick Cripps, Sam Walsh, etc., etc. But it's not so much the defence worries me, because I think it was this one area of the ground, particularly our whole defence, which really did improve over the course of the year. And I know defence is based predominantly on system rather than personnel in this day and age, but you still need your fucking A-graders down there. And he, to me, and I'm not a biased fan, but I've been somewhat critical of Jacob Wiedering over the course of his career, more around his demeanour, more than his potential itself and his skill as a footballer. But I think he's fucking blossomed into, I think, the best key defender in the game. And I could only imagine the severity and the repercussions if something happened to Wiedering with this defence of ours. And it'd be interesting to see whether Lewis Young and Sam Durden, who are his coverage, let's face it, he's understudies, so to speak, and All's not lost for Lewis Young, and Sam Durden obviously got another year under his belt, another year at the football club as that backup. Whether they could come in and potentially fill a void. We've seen Lewis Young do it before, but geez, there's some question marks on him now going into 2024. But I can't see Gav, Marchbank, Kemp and a Q waiting in the wings, and we don't really have anyone else. This is why I'm so big on, really, are we going to try get into that top 10? And I know most clubs are probably looking at maybe midfielders, but could we potentially get a key defender that we can develop? I know you're not going to probably get a Jacob Weeder and pick one, and he's so good. He's so good, and he holds that defence together. And anyway, that's Fridays on the treadmill done and dusted. For those of you who don't know what I'm doing, I get in here and I crank the air conditioning up to 28, and it's actually about 27 degrees outside, but fuck, it's so stuffy in here, and I actually really enjoy it. So anyway, tell me what you think, guys. Who's the player we can least afford to lose at the football club? How long do we see Rob Monaghan and Matt Duffy, the Irishman, in a Carlton jumper? What did you think about the episode with Elijah Hollins? You're excited to see him at the football club. Andrew Dillon, the Richmond supporter. And what do we need? If we're going to take 3 picks to the national draft, what is your order? Give me your order, your preference. Midfield, defence, small forward, key forward, midfielder, wingers. Tell me in the comments below. Speak soon, guys. Take care.